Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I want to talk about people that I know when I was younger we used to say that these are people who have to learn the hard way. They don't learn just by telling you. Now, I don't think people put it that way these days. I haven't heard anybody say that in so long about somebody, but it's I think more likely these days people say, oh, they're just narcissistic. So much is just thrown underneath that as an umbrella, narcissist. How to get to it, but I'm going to give a situation that happened to me. I don't know how many years ago it was. Well, actually, I'd say it was around 15 years ago. Wow, how much time has flown since then? How time has flown. But when you have somebody in your life, and they, are people, and they should trust you, and they do trust you usually about another person, and you're telling them about this other person, you're warning them, this person isn't doing right, and they, you don't even tell them, like they might do you wrong, you just tell them that that's not a good person, and you may tell them, this is what they did to me, this is what they said to me, and that person, say it's a family member or a friend, somebody who's close to you, doubts you, doesn't think so, about this other person. Let's call her Oma. O-M-A, Oma. Okay, and it's a woman. Like I said, her. And they just don't believe you. This Oma woman is just so bad. She, what had happened to me, and I called her Oma in the past before, I got hired at this job. And what I found out from from people all along, I was like, really? I had a hard time believing it. To go to it. Now, Oma was the office manager at this place. And I had gotten hired. I had just finished teaching a class at university, or a semester at university, not just a class. But, and I wanted something different after that. And I took this job, and the woman who hired me was Oma, and she knew somebody I knew. Okay, so, and I had met her before, didn't have much to think, to say about her, to think about her at all. It was just, she didn't have that much of a personality. She was like pretty, and she was a little bit younger, probably like 5 years younger, and she just seemed to be so indifferent to anybody but the person I knew. Kind of, in hindsight, it was like more like she was possessive of her. Okay, why this thing sometimes jumps around and sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, this Oma was very possessive of the person I knew, the woman I knew, and really, it's not that much hindsight. I think I thought that then too. I was like, that's odd. She had no reason to be possessive of her. But maybe that played a role into it. Of course, it probably did. The way this other woman, responded to me when I told her what it was. And what it was is this woman would hire people. She'd let them work up to the 89th day, because at 90 days, they would get their benefits, like health insurance. Okay, this was many years ago, remember? And, the insurance was great. It was actually for a what kind of neurological surgeon, 2 of them, and the benefits were great, the pay was great, all of it, their vacation, everything was great except for Oma. And her best friend who worked there, now I knew, had heard of them and everything, she worked there with her. She tried to warn me at one point that this is what Oma does. She finds a way to fire people or to get them to quit on their 89th day. And there was this big, huge woman, not fat, huge, strong, huge. Now, I'm a strong-bodied woman, too. Yeah, but she was just like, well, her job basically required her to be rather muscular. And she used her to kind of bully people, too. Okay, and they would say things like that you're not doing your job, you need to go above and beyond, and you're not even meeting that anywhere near it, and just anything to harass you so you'd quit. Now, when I was there was a woman who worked front desk, and one day she left, in the middle of the day, and I was wondering what's going on, And she came running back into the office, opened the door, and told me, this not any of the ones I've mentioned so far. She warned me. She goes, it's not what you think it is, and it's not what you think it is. They're bad, all this stuff. So I had kind of like these warnings. But so far, nothing had happened. Nobody had really told me the full story yet. Instead, it was a bunch of hints at what had happened in the past. See, so if I said that the other way, no. It was more of a hint that this is what has happened in the past, that people don't make it to their 90 days. Even the surgeon, the main surgeon, the one that owned the business, this practice, he's told me whenever I got hired and interviewed by him, he also interviewed me. He said, I don't know what it is, but I can't keep people more than a few months. Now, when I found out all this, was because they did it to me. And I quit because I was harassed really bad. But the thing about it was past my 90 days. Okay. It was like a weekend, and she just didn't, think about it before the weekend. Yeah. So anyway, I was wanting to reach the surgeon, but Oma was the gatekeeper, and she made sure nobody spoke to the surgeon to tell him this is what she's doing. And this is what she does. Okay, he would have believed me, I'm fairly certain. But now about her, while I'm at it, at the end of it, Oma did get fired. She got demoted, and told if she ever does anything like that, because I reported it to whatever it was as her. Harassment, what is it called? Unemployment office, whatever. I reported it and said what she did and all that. And it must have gotten back to him somehow, some way, the owner, main surgeon. But she got demoted, and then she eventually quit because they weren't giving her hardly anything. And they were still giving her the pay, but they weren't giving her any power over anybody, any control over anything. And so finally she gave up. They basically made her do nothing. She was the kind of woman that really loved power and control over other people. She did not care. Now, I would say this is more like a psychopath, really, behaviors. I'm not diagnosing anybody, but yeah, those kind of behaviors when you get a sick thrill out of hurting people and causing them harm. Because that woman I mentioned, the one that came running in and told me that, she was a single mom living by herself with her. I think she had a young daughter. It was like 5 years old or something, and she was the sole supporter of her child. So Oma did not care. That's the way she did it because she, what I was told eventually, and what I kind of figured out too, is that besides that she likes that control and everything, she wanted it to look good, so they weren't paying all that many benefits. And she had a goddess complex, all this kind of stuff. And I don't even think anybody still calls people have a goddess complex either. But yeah, she wanted to be the center of attention. She wanted to act like, they did her wrong, instead of the fact was that she and that incredible Hulk woman in the back, bullied. And I'm saying that about her not to make fun of her size, because like I said, I'm a tall, strong-bodied woman. But she used her hulk, she used her brawn to intimidate people. Okay? She went along with it. She didn't get fired, of course. She stayed there as long. She had been there years, But she was used in this process, and she was okay with it. That's oof. Okay, so where was I? But anyway, I was bullied and harassed off that job. I reported it, and apparently got back, and Oma, basically, she was demoted, and she didn't like it, and she went on. And yeah, I had heard about her because I continued to work in that field, and I heard, things about her along the way, including that she had taken some of the stuff that I had created and used it as her own story of my life with people. Yeah, it was some forms and stuff I made, and yeah, she took them to other jobs and acted like she was the one that came up with all of it. And so anyway, but after all that happened, I cannot believe this keeps falling like this. But after all that happened, I told this person who helped me to get hired there. And, she was a friend of hers. And Alma was a friend of hers. And she just didn't believe me at all. She just said, no way. Apparently I had somehow taken it all wrong. and that she really wasn't trying to fire me, but I just wasn't apparently doing my job right. Bull. Plain and simple. Bunch of BS. And there was a pattern of it, and I pointed out the pattern. Nope, she wouldn't believe me. No. But we all know that this kind of person, like Oma, can be very, very manipulative and make other people believe them. Okay, so I've found that to be especially true for anybody who's in power, in a management power kind of position. Yeah, pardon the blinker. I'm not saying that everybody in a power position is that way, okay? But I've noticed it to be especially true in that kind of situation. So anyway, so she didn't believe me. This woman didn't believe me. And I don't know how, it caused me a lot of problems because I just gotten that job and just got out from, teaching and needed a job. A lot of things happened around then, and I really needed the job. So, and it paid really well. It paid enough for me to support where I was living and stuff like that. And nothing. And this person, Oma did not care. She didn't care about anybody, like I said. That poor woman that had the baby. Can you imagine? The child. 5-year-old. And so anyway, and apparently that happened on a regular basis. And that we weren't the only two. This is what I'm saying. This was Oma's pattern. So, then this, and the woman I knew, she just didn't believe me. Well, months later, Oma did something to her. Not the same kind of thing. She didn't work for Oma or anything like that. But Oma did something to her, too. And it was one of those, she got her. And didn't care how she treated her. Didn't care how it affected her. The woman I knew, Oma didn't care. Because she wanted what she wanted, and she got her way whenever she wanted it. That was how it is. Plain and simple. Yeah. Well, the woman that I knew called me, and she said, Ralph, she goes, now I understand what you mean. She did it to me, too. You see, she's the type that has to learn. That's what we used to call them. Has to learn through experience, having the same thing happen to, or something similar to happen to them before they learn. Learn from anybody else's experiences. Sometimes we used to say learn from other people's mistakes, but no, their experiences when they're the ones who were treated wrong. Even now, me, I know that this woman, and I no longer have contact with either one of them, thank goodness, and haven't for I don't know, several years. I think Oma from way back then. So, but I'd heard of, would hear about her after that. But no, I haven't heard about any one of them in I don't know how long, which is great. I was the one saying, cut off, no more. If you, I was so upset. But for me, it was a calm upset. When the woman called me, like, she wanted me to feel pity for her when she didn't feel that for me. The woman I know, not Oma. But no, you didn't listen to me, you didn't believe me. And I told her that too. I said, no, you didn't believe me. You didn't listen to me, and you're going to call me and want me to feel empathy and sympathy for you? No, not happening. Thing is just going to be bad, so. But anyway, she didn't learn from what happened to me. I have a feeling that she never, ever learns from what other people tell her. I think what she wants to be true, that's all that matters. Whether people give her evidence of the fact, that it's not true, what she wants to think is not true, she doesn't care. As long as, it's about her. Not Oma I'm talking about the woman I know. As long as she thinks it, therefore it's true. Until she has it happen to her. If, it ever happens. But she gets used a lot, so. And then she's quite a bit on the same side as Oma, as I learned. Yeah. Anyway, but how many of us know people like that? That was, I would say, the two worst. Those two. Okay, really. As far as like on a job. I've seen this kind of person on and off during my life, pretty much all on and off in my life, my whole life. But yeah, not so much as the ones that have to learn from other people's mistakes or have to learn from other people's experiences and don't. They have to experience it themselves. Not really that much, so much that type, but some of those that just don't care. as long as they're getting what they're wanting, they're getting what they want. That's all that matters to them, you know. So, and I have a feeling that's what was going on there before what happened to me. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But if you have a story like that you want to share, leave a comment below. I'll talk to you on another video.